Hi there, and welcome. If you've ever told yourself, "I'm fine," while everything inside you is quietly falling apart, this story is for you. Today's video is not just a story. It's a wake-up call, a reminder that even the strongest among us can break, and that sometimes it takes a collapse to begin truly healing. This is ... The day my body shut down, a stress burnout story. The fluorescent lights of the hospital room hummed, a monotonous drone that seemed to vibrate through my very bones. I stared at the four-drip, each drop a slow, deliberate countdown. I had always prided myself on my health, on my ability to push through, to handle anything life threw my way. Now here I was, completely broken, a stark contrast to the image I so carefully curated for the world. They called it collapse, a complete and utter system failure. I called it the inevitable consequence of a life lived on overdrive. My name is Alistair Finch, and until a week ago, I was the golden boy of Caldwell and Stern, a prestigious law firm downtown. I was the partner who always arrived early, the one who volunteered for the impossible cases, the one who could charm the most recalcitrant judge. My colleagues admired me, my superiors praised me, and the junior associates practically worshipped the ground I walked on. My life was a whirlwind of courtrooms, depositions, and late-night strategy sessions, fueled by copious amounts of coffee and an unwavering ambition. I thrived on the pressure, the constant demands, the feeling of being indispensable. Or at least, I thought I did. Looking back, the cracks had been there for months, maybe even years. The persistent headaches I dismissed as tension. The insomnia I attributed to the caffeine. The growing fatigue I simply ignored, pushing myself harder, determined to maintain my impeccable performance. "I'm fine," I would say, forcing a smile, even as my body screamed for rest. "Just a bit tired. Nothing I can't handle." The smile became my mask, a carefully constructed facade that hid the crumbling foundation beneath. My wife, Eleanor, saw it first. We'd been together since university, a lifetime. It felt like she was an artist, a free spirit, everything I wasn't. She grounded me, reminded me of the world outside the concrete jungle of my career. But even her gentle nudges, her concerned questions, were met with the same dismissive response. "Don't worry, darling," I'd say, kissing her forehead. "I'm just busy. It'll all calm down soon." But it never did. The workload only increased, the pressure mounted, and my health continued to deteriorate, slowly, insidiously, like a silent saboteur. The day I collapsed started like any other. I woke up at 5 a.m., already behind on emails. I skipped breakfast, grabbed a coffee, and headed to the office. I had a crucial hearing that morning, a high-stakes case that could make or break my career. I spent the entire morning cross-examining witnesses, arguing points of law, and navigating the labyrinthine complexities of the legal system. The adrenaline kept me going, masking the exhaustion that was steadily consuming me. During a brief recess, I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a crushing sensation that stole my breath. I leaned against the wall, trying to catch my breath, telling myself it was just stress, just anxiety. I took a deep breath, plastered on my signature smile, and walked back into the courtroom. I won the case, of course. I always did. The judge praised my eloquence, my colleagues congratulated me, and I basked in the fleeting glow of victory. But as I walked out of the courthouse, the world began to spin. The pain in my chest intensified, my vision blurred, and I felt a cold sweat break out on my skin. I stumbled, grabbing onto a lamppost for support. I tried to call Eleanor, but my fingers fumbled with the phone. The last thing I remember was the sound of sirens and the blurry faces of paramedics hovering above me. I woke up in the hospital, surrounded by machines and monitors. Eleanor was there, her face etched with worry. The doctor explained that I had suffered a severe stress-induced collapse. My body had simply shut down, unable to cope with the relentless pressure I had been subjecting it to. He used words like burnout, exhaustion, and critical condition. I heard the words, but they didn't quite register. It was as if I was watching a movie of my own life, detached and disbelieving. The days that followed were a blur of tests, medications, and therapy sessions. I learned that I had been living on the edge for far too long, ignoring the warning signs, pushing myself beyond my limits. The doctor explained that I needed to make significant changes to my lifestyle, to prioritize my health and well-being. "You can't keep running on empty," he said. "You need to learn to slow down, to listen to your body." Eleanor stayed by my side, her love and support unwavering. She brought me books to read, played music, and simply sat with me in silence. She didn't lecture me or say, "I told you so." She just held my hand and reminded me of the things that truly mattered in life: love, family, and connection. As I began to recover, I started to reflect on my life, on the choices I had made, on the priorities I had set. I realized that I had sacrificed my health, my happiness, and my relationships at the altar of ambition. I had allowed my career to define me, to consume me, to ultimately destroy me. I had been so focused on achieving success, on climbing the corporate ladder, that I had forgotten to live. I started to make changes, small at first, then more significant. I delegated tasks at work, learned to say no, and prioritized my own well-being. I started exercising, eating healthy, and getting enough sleep. I spent more time with Eleanor, rediscovering the joys of simple pleasures: walks in the park, cooking together, and quiet evenings at home. The recovery was slow and arduous, but with each passing day, I felt stronger, both physically and mentally. I learned to listen to my body, to recognize the warning signs of stress and fatigue. I learned to prioritize my health, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. I learned that true success wasn't about climbing the corporate ladder, but about living a balanced and fulfilling life. When I finally returned to work, I was a different person. I was still ambitious, still driven, but I was also more compassionate, more empathetic, and more aware of my own limitations. I delegated more, mentored junior associates, and made time for my family. I even started a wellness program at the firm, encouraging my colleagues to prioritize their health and well-being. My collapse had been a wake-up call, a harsh reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of self-care. It had forced me to re-evaluate my priorities, to make significant changes, and to ultimately live a more authentic and fulfilling life. The scar on my chest, a physical reminder of my ordeal, served as a constant reminder of the lessons I had learned. But the biggest change was within me. The smile I wore was no longer a mask, a facade to hide my pain. It was a genuine expression of joy, gratitude, and self-acceptance. I had smiled through it all, yes, but I had also learned to listen to my body, to honor my needs, and to prioritize my well-being. And that, I realized, was the true measure of success. The hum of the hospital equipment is now a gentle reminder, a subtle rhythm in the symphony of my renewed life. I am not defined by my career, my accomplishments, or my past mistakes. I am defined by my resilience, my compassion, and my commitment to living a healthy, balanced, and fulfilling life. The collapse, the breakdown, the near-death experience, it was all a catalyst, a turning point that led me to a better, more authentic version of myself. I am Alistair Finch, and I am finally truly alive. Eleanor walks in, a splash of vibrant color in the sterile room. She's carrying a bouquet of wildflowers, their delicate beauty a stark contrast to the harshness of the hospital environment. She smiles, a warm, genuine smile that reaches her eyes, and I know that everything is going to be okay, more than okay. It's going to be beautiful. How are you feeling? She asks, her voice soft with concern. Better, I reply, reaching for her hand. Much better. Thanks to you. She squeezes my hand, her eyes filled with love. You did this, Alistair, she says. You made the choice to change. I just helped you along the way. I smile, a genuine smile that comes from deep within. We did this together, I say. And we're going to keep doing it together. She leans down and kisses me, a gentle, loving kiss that seals our commitment to a healthier, happier future. The hum of the hospital equipment fades into the background, replaced by the sound of our laughter, a sound that fills the room with hope and joy. The flowers on the table seem to bloom a little brighter, and I know that I am finally, truly on the path to recovery. Not just physical recovery, but a complete and total transformation of my life. A life lived with intention, with gratitude, and with a deep and unwavering commitment to health and well-being. A life worth living. Beyond the immediate aftermath, the transformation permeated every facet of Alistair's existence. He discovered a love for cooking, spending hours in the kitchen, experimenting with healthy recipes, much to Eleanor's delight. They started a small garden, growing their own vegetables and herbs, connecting with the earth in a way he never had before. He found solace in nature, taking long walks in the park, breathing in the fresh air, and appreciating the simple beauty of the world around him. He even took up meditation, learning to quiet his mind and find inner peace amidst the chaos of daily life. His relationship with Eleanor deepened, strengthened by the shared experience of his collapse and recovery. They communicated more openly, listened more attentively, and appreciated each other more fully. They started taking regular vacations, exploring new places, and creating lasting memories. They rediscovered the joy of being together, of simply enjoying each other's company, without the pressures and distractions of work. At the firm, Alistair became a mentor and advocate for his colleagues. He shared his story, his struggles, and his hard-won lessons. He encouraged them to prioritize their health, to take breaks, and to seek help when they needed it. He instituted flexible work arrangements, wellness programs, and mental health resources. He created a culture of support and understanding, where people felt comfortable talking about their challenges and seeking help without fear of judgment. His success rate at the firm didn't diminish. In fact, it improved. But his definition of success had changed. He no longer measured his worth by his billable hours or his courtroom victories. He measured it by the positive impact he had on the lives of his colleagues, his family, and his community. He became a leader, not just in the legal profession, but in the truest sense of the word. Someone who inspired others to be their best selves, to live their best lives. Years passed, and Alistair remained committed to his health and well-being. He never forgot the lessons he had learned from his collapse. He continued to prioritize self-care, to nurture his relationships, and to make a positive difference in the world. He lived a long and fulfilling life, filled with love, laughter, and purpose. And when he finally passed away, surrounded by his family and friends, he did so with a sense of peace and contentment, knowing that he had lived a life well lived, a life that had been transformed by a single pivotal moment, the moment he collapsed, and in doing so, found his true self. The memory of that day, the day he collapsed, became a touchstone, a reminder of the importance of balance, of self-compassion, and of living a life that was aligned with his values. It was a reminder that true strength wasn't about pushing through, but about listening to his body, honoring his needs, and prioritizing his well-being. It was a reminder that life was a gift, a precious and fragile gift that should be cherished and lived to the fullest. And Alistair Finch, the golden boy turned wellness advocate, lived every day with that understanding, with that gratitude, and with that unwavering commitment to a life of health, happiness, and purpose. He had smiled through it all, yes, but he had also learned to truly live. Thank you for listening to my story. If any part of this journey spoke to you, if you've ever ignored the warning signs, pushed yourself too far, or smiled through the pain just to keep going, know this: it's okay to pause, it's okay to rest, and it's more than okay to ask for help. My collapse didn't end me. It opened the door to a life that's more meaningful, more peaceful, and more real than I ever thought possible. So maybe this is your sign to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect with what truly matters. If this story moved you, please consider liking, subscribing, and most importantly, sharing it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that they're not alone. Take care of yourself. You are worth it.